G'day good people, Sawat D Cup. Dave here, thanks for clicking on my video. Now, as the title and the thumbnail suggests, all has not been well here in Thailand with my retirement. It all nearly fell apart and it all nearly ended in tears. Well, there were tears, but it didn't end. I mentioned in a video that I did last year that I slowly weaned off some antidepressant medication that I'd been taking for some 20 odd years. Well, before I left Australia for Thailand in September of 2023, I went and saw my doctor about weaning off the antidepressant medication. And he suggested that I wait until I get to Thailand, wait until I've all settled in, and then slowly wean myself off the medication. I was absolutely 150,000% sure that I didn't need them anymore. After everything I went through, when my dad passed away just before COVID, and then working ridiculously long hours and looking after my mum, and then my mum fell ill and she passed away. Meanwhile, like this is all in the middle of COVID-19. No one was allowed in Australia, no one was allowed out of Australia. I could not get to Thailand to see Noi for nearly 2 years. I went through all of that and I did not slip into a deep, dark depression. Yes, there was tears when I was grieving and there was plenty of tears. I could feel very, very mild depression, and I did at times think I was going to slip deep into the black hole of depression, but it didn't happen. And after going through all of that, I was 100% sure that I'd never be depressed again. I thought that I'd grown enough as a person, improved myself enough as a person to never have depression again. I thought I'd beaten the bastard, but I hadn't. As I said, I went to see my doctor just before leaving Australia to come to Thailand in September of 2023. And he suggested, as I said before, to wait till I've settled in Thailand and then to slowly wean off the medication. Now, I was expecting the withdrawal symptoms. The withdrawal symptoms were supposed to go for around 6 weeks. And I knew what they were, so I stuck to it. After 6 weeks, there was no sign of the withdrawal symptoms easing off. So I went for another approximately 2 weeks. So it was 8 weeks, and it was getting worse. It was getting worse. I was having massive mood swings. I was not a fun person to be around. And poor old Noi, was copping the full brunt of my mood swings. It was horrendous. It was not nice at all. I went for weeks with virtually no sleep, with very, very little sleep. I was getting massive migraines. One of those migraines, I ended up in hospital. It was that bad. I was actually vomiting, and I ended up going to hospital in the middle of the night. They gave me some really powerful painkillers, and that got rid of the migraine. And all this went on for about 8 weeks, about 2 months. And then eventually I finally folded, I buckled, I gave in to the withdrawal symptoms and went and saw a doctor, and he put me back on the antidepressants that I'd been taking for some 20 odd years. Then everything was okay. I was sleeping again. I was back to normal again, my normal usual self again. But then I could feel myself slipping down. And I didn't know why. I didn't know what was going on. My mood was low, especially in the mornings. Wake up in the mornings and I just didn't want to face the day. I didn't know what to do. I'd lost interest in everything. I'd gone off my food. I lost 10 kilograms. Believe me, I'd rather lose it a different way, a healthier way. Yeah, so I found myself slipping into the deep, dark, black hole of depression. I was convinced I would never feel depression again after everything that I'd been through. And it had been 10 years since my last time I had depression. Everything that went on with my dad and my mum and COVID, not being able to see Noi for nearly 2 years, I honestly thought I'd grown enough of a person, to not feel depression again. That was a hard pill to swallow when I realised that was not the case, which made things worse. Made things a lot worse. It's stinking hot here today. It's about 37 degrees, so I'm going to sit here in the shade. Noi booked me in to see a psychiatrist at Bangkok Mental Health. So we went and we saw the psychiatrist there, and told him what I've just said, and he put me on some other medication as well, which really messed me up to start with. So he, went back and adjusted the doses here and there until it was, until I could manage it, until I was okay with it. And I also asked about DTMS therapy, deep transcranial magnetic stimulation. So I did that. I had to do it every day for 20 days with a gap of 3 days after the 10th session. After the 4th session of DTMS therapy, I began to feel a little bit of a lift, a very, very slight improvement in my mood. The DTMS therapy helped me no end. Noi, the support I received from Noi helped me no end, and her family, like my Thai family, and a couple of friends, one in Australia, my best mate, you know who you are, talking to him helped, and another friend, a fairly new friend that I haven't known him for long, but I feel like I know him very well now. He lives in Chiang Mai. He's recently retired here in Thailand. Talking to him helped. And he did a mammoth trip of a lifetime from the very north of Thailand, northern point of Thailand, to the very southern point of Thailand on his NX 500. And on his way back from the south, as he was passing Bangkok, he dropped me a line and said, "Do you want to meet up? And, sit down, have a chat, have dinner or something like that." So that's what we did. I'll get up and get moving now. So that's what we did. And I hadn't ridden my bike. That's another thing. I'd lost interest in riding my bike. I just didn't feel confident on it anymore. I couldn't drive. I didn't feel confident. I just couldn't concentrate in traffic. I was an absolute basket case. I was an absolute mess. And anyway, he sent me a message. He said, I'm at the meeting point. So I chucked my helmet on and jumped on my bike, and I was shitting myself. I was nervous because I knew where I had to go. So I jumped on the bike and went and met Tom. He wanted me to show him where this old classic Australian car, this old classic Australian HR Holden is, which is obviously where I am now too. It's been sat there for a very long time. And he popped the bonnet up, and it's a 4-cylinder. It's a Japanese 4-cylinder that's in there. So yeah, we came to see this HR, and I actually, after probably 15 minutes or so of riding to this temple, for the first time in a long time, I actually enjoyed riding my bike again. I actually enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And Tom stayed at our place overnight, and he left the next morning. And after he left, I sat out the front looking at my bike, looking at it and thinking to myself, I said to myself, I've got to ride that thing. And I did. And from that day on, I haven't been able to stop riding the bloody thing. I've fallen in love with my bike all over again. Feels like the first day that I got it. I've fallen in love with it again. And I've fallen in love with Thailand again. It all feels fresh and new again. And life is good. Since I moved here, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. Well, that's where I am right now. Again, I'm happy. The happiest I've ever been in my entire life. And I owe that to my bike. And I also think Tom needs a big shout out, a big thank you as well. Because unintentionally, it was him that got me off my ass and got me on my bike and got me to enjoy riding again. Incidentally, Tom is a YouTuber too. So here's the big plug. His channel is called All Tied Up. He lives in Chiang Mai. He's in the process of editing, but he's got a couple of videos out about his mammoth trip from the north of Thailand right down to the south and back again. So yeah, it's called All Tied Up. I'll leave a link in the description to his channel. Go check it out. I've got a big ride coming up. Noi has a work trip up in Nong Khai, up in Isan on the Lao border. And I'm going to ride up there. She's flying up, I'm going to ride up. And also Tom's going to ride across from Chiang Mai, and we're going to just, I don't know, explore around Nong Khai. And I also might twist his arm and see if he wants to ride down to Krabi. Now, I haven't talked to him about this, so he's probably going to see this video and think, what? Once we finished in Nong Khai, what we could do is ride back to my place in Bangkok, well, near Bangkok. Then we've got, I think it's about 4 or 5 days at home until we have to head off down to Krabi. So Tom, if you're up for that ride, let's do it. All right guys, this is the end of the video. If you've watched it so far, thank you very much. And if you've enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. All right guys, bye for now. Peace.